So I'd like to call this regular meeting of council to order at 7:03 p.m. at the Golden Lake Community Center. We will stay seated for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We will move on to the mayor's address. I have a motion that the June 7th, 2022 mayor's address be accepted as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Buckhold. Can we bring up the address, please? So during the month of May, I attended 10 meetings for county and municipal business. On Saturday, May 14th, 2022, I was invited to the Rotary Club dinner and presentation of the Paul Harris Fellow Awards for community contributions. I want to congratulate our councillor, Janet Reiki Schoenfeld, for receiving an award for her years of supporting the youth in our community. Also, congratulations to John Yakubuski for his re-election as MPP to the provincial Conservative majority government. Recently, under the subfloor of one office in the Township administration building, staff uncovered what appeared to be mold. Remedial cleanup inside the office will be completed with the assistance of qualified professionals. I would like to thank our municipal public works staff for the work that has been completed to date, including road sweeping, gravel applications, dust control, road grading, and culvert replacements. Municipal staff have been busy with the preparation and posting of tenders for projects approved in our 2022 municipal budget. Staff were successful in obtaining grants for hiring 2 summer students to assist our public works and recreation departments. That is my mayor's address. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Buckhold?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Yes, that's carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we will move on to the adoption of the minutes. So I have a motion that the May 17th, 2022 Committee of Adjustment minutes and the May 17th, 2022 regular council minutes be accepted as presented. Again, we're going to second it, please. Moved by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Buckhold. Are there any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, Councillor Buckhold?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld?
Yes.
And yes, that's carried. Thank you. We have no delegations, so we will move on to reports. Item 7.1, the fire apparatus procurement report has been withdrawn by staff. So we will move to item 7.2, which is the financing options for purchasing the fire department tanker. I have a motion that council finance the purchase of the fire department tanker for a 10-year term through Infrastructure Ontario. And I'm going to move in seconder. Moved by Councillor Buckhold, seconded by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld. So I will ask staff for the report, please.
Okay, so at the last council meeting, the 17th, direction was given to staff to investigate and bring back a report on financing options for the tanker that the fire department would like to purchase. Okay, so in the 2022 budget, 50,000 was included in reserves for this purchase. If we include a additional 50,000 in the 2023 budget for reserves for the purchase of this vehicle, that would reduce the amount to be financed to 442,000. And the municipality is able to finance vehicles through Infrastructure Ontario at favorable interest rates. So the current interest rates for a 5-year term are 3.5, a 10-year term is 3.81%, and a 15-year term is 4.02%. We would apply for a serial type loan, which means that the installment amount becomes smaller over time. So we would pay more at the start of the term and less towards the end. And we do this because the financing costs are less rather than a loan that's amortized. Okay. So if we look at the financing costs for a 5-year loan, the interest would be a little less than 41,000. So the total payments for the first year would be 103,000 approximately, and the total payments for the final year would be a little more than 9,000. If we were to look at a 10-year loan, the financing cost over the length would be 86,000 approximately. For the first year, our payments would be 60,000 approximately, and the final year our payments would be 45,000 approximately. For the 15-year loan, the interest cost would be 135,000 approximately over that term. The first year our payments would be approximately 47,000. The final year our payments would be approximately 30,000. And because in our 2022 fire department budget, we were able to include an amount of 50,000 for reserves without financial hardship for the municipality. So for the years 2022 and beyond, we would be able to use these funds to pay for the truck payments.
Yes, Andrew.
So through the mayor's little addition to that. So the direction from council at the last meeting was to come back with financial options for purchasing the truck. And council's concern was the cost of the truck. Further to the information that's just been provided to you, the deputy chief has a little more information on slight reductions that they were able to discuss with the supplier. It's I think approximately $10,000. We'll have the deputy chief explain how that works.
Just myself and Kevin sat down and we talked to via messaging back and forth with the company that did provide us with a bid, and there was a few cosmetic things that we determined that we could delete or modify with the vehicle, which in turn did take off $10,885 from the total price. So the original quote was $532,625. After consultation with the supplier, we have that down to $521,740 plus HSE.
Sorry, what was the new total again?
$521,740.
Comments from council, questions? Councilor Buckwalk and then Councilor Johnson.
I have 2 questions. I'm guessing should probably go to our financial guru. What was the rationale between going to the 10-year with the larger cost of borrowing? Was it simply to keep the monthly annual payments down?
Yes, that is true. So the 5-year loan, the cost would be approximately between 100 to to 90,000 for a year, for 5 years.
And we currently have in reserve available how much?
Unfortunately, I don't have those numbers for tonight.
Okay, well, I just want clarification on numbers you had mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So in 2022, we had placed 50,000 in reserves
Okay.
for purchasing the truck. And if we did that again in 2023, we would have 100,000 to reduce our financing amount.
Yeah, I thought you had mentioned another number after that.
So that would be 442,000 to be financed.
Andrew?
So the deputy chief just made me aware of another factor that was discussed. So the original supply date was 460 days. It's been updated to be 600 days from the time of work.
Councilor Anderson,
So currently what we're looking at is just financing options. We haven't chosen a supplier, correct? Okay.
No, we haven't.
Okay, and the second thing is, would be able to purchase it over 5 years without financial hardship? I mean, I always just look at the fact that the interest rate, the amount of interest between the 5-year plan and the 10-year plan, I mean, that could be the cost of part of a road or something like that. But I mean, would we be in finance, and I know it's hard to tell because we're looking at a 5-range plan, right? But do you think we'd be in financial hardship if we went with the 5 years as opposed to the 10 years?
So if we went with the 5-year financing plan, we would have to add an additional 50,000 into the budget to cover that. So that would mean that we would either need to increase our tax rate or reduce costs to be able to accommodate that additional amount.
Andrew?
So to the mayor again, I think there might be some confusion. The council's question was, if you haven't decided on the vehicle, but this is just the financing, yes, it is before the actual fire truck that you're purchasing. So if you decide to go ahead with this, to be purchasing a fire truck, that would brought forward in the market.
Councilor Anderson.
But we decided to not talk about the last report, so I'm not sure how we can go ahead and say we're gonna finance this one based on the fact we haven't talked about the. So to me, like, this should be deferred until we actually get the report, because it seems like we're not doing something right.
It's a little more confusing. So what I'm referring to as the last report was the report before council that you deferred in previous committee, not the report that was withdrawn.
I still struggle with the cost. I mean, yes, it's come down $10,000, but we're still in the range of $80,000-$90,000 over what we originally budgeted. And it's a 600-day delivery. I would like to get more information from staff. I can't support this purchase right now, the way it's going to be done. That's about it.
So just clarification from Andrew. So this report is speaking about how we're going to finance a truck of this cost. If we agree with how we're going to finance it, does that commit us to purchasing the truck that was previously submitted?
So through the mayor, to be really clear, you had a report before you at the last meeting with the truck. Council directed staff to come back with information on financing that truck and those options. So if you want to purchase a different truck, then you need to reissue a tender or an RFP. So basically, this is, if you choose to go this way, you're buying that truck. You can choose another report to buy any truck you want with that type of financing, but what's before you tonight is to purchase the truck and go, actually, it would be better to put the resolution up.
That goes.
Oh, sorry.
For everything that's being said, I think that, making a decision on the purchase, the financing option is a little bit premature until we see the other big revised report. We can discuss that, because the two, I think, are independent of each other.
Yes, that would be.
Just one other thing for financial implication of this. Because this tender was received before June 1st, this is the price as of now, but effective for anything outside of June 1st, there has been a 5% increase already from suppliers, which is approximately $27,000 on the price of this vehicle. And the projection is that in the next year, the costs are going to go up another 15 to 20% with no sign of anything dropping. So that's just something to be thoughtful of as we move along as well.
Andrew,
So through the mayor, just one more time, just so you're clear, so this resolution is speaking to what you deferred in the last meeting. So, you know, this is the purchase of the truck, but everything that you discussed is based on that one truck. So if you want other options, then you need to ask for another report to come forward with other options of different trucks to purchase. And that basically this RFP or tender would be dead.
so the resolution in front of us has been moved and seconded. It speaks directly to the purchase of the truck that we are, or would be financing.
Yes, because that's referred to in the report, and that's what the
Okay.
prices are. So you're basically saying that truck.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions from council? Seeing none, I will call the vote. Councilor Barthol.
No.
Councilor Robinson.
Yeah.
Councilor Radke.
No.
And I'm no. Has that been defeated? So do we need another resolution and for direction to staff?
It would be advisable to give a relatively clear resolution that keep that council.
Are you ready to do a resolution?
I dictate.
So
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
sure.
Basically, a resolution that council closes off the previous RFQ and directs staff to do two things. One, issue a new one, widely advertised, and two, look into the availability that provide a report to council on available stock trucks that would meet our requirements.
Council has agreed with that, or is there anything you would like to add?
Do we need to put a time frame in?
Yes, Andrew.
So to down to the mayor, may I make a suggestion that the direction be for fire chief to solicit quotations on a stock truck from qualified suppliers. Because there's only a limited amount of suppliers This will speed up the process quite a bit. And a report we brought back to council meeting. And it's not going to be the next one, it's going to happen because you may have a summer schedule, but the council meeting in July. I think that gives the chief comfortable window to do himself.
Is that okay with council? Do I have a mover?
Oh, yeah.
Councilor Buckland?
I moved it by speaking it.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Ricky. Councilor Buckland?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilor Ricky phone call?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so that's carried. Moving on to item 7.3 is the cleaning of the public washrooms. I have a motion that council accept the cleaning of public washrooms report as presented and direct staff to discontinue cleaning the public washrooms on weekends. I can move on in second. Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckland. Comments or questions? Councilor Ricky phone call.
Just clarification, so the washrooms would be locked on the weekends? I'm just confused because on the last paragraph, staff recommends the township discontinue cleaning public washrooms on weekends and locking them at night, as the township's not able to hire extra students. So I'm just wondering, like, are they gonna be locked like Friday night until Monday morning now?
So the recommendation is that we discontinue cleaning the public washrooms and just continue blocking them on the weekend.
Okay, and do they get locked on weeknights then? Sorry, I know, it's just, because it says locking them at night as.
So currently, or last year, they were locked each night.
Okay.
So we would discontinue that practice.
Okay, so basically they just wouldn't be cleaned on the weekends.
They wouldn't be cleaned on the weekends and they wouldn't be locked at night.
And then, yeah, whether it's a weekday or weekend. Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schonfeld,
Yes,
I'm a yes, it's carried, thank you. Item 7.4 is the newsletter name. I have a motion that council accepts the report as presented and approves the name Lake and Woods Magazine for the newsletter. Am I going to move in a second?
just a point of clarification. Like, are we just voting on pick or are we actually voting on that one?
Well, the resolution says we're voting on this one. But if we defeat this resolution, we can come up with the name we prefer if we don't like this.
I'll move it so we can have discussion on it.
Okay,
Now,
Second.
moved by Councilor Buckland, seconded by discussion. Councilor Buckland.
I don't like any of them. They don't contribute to any brand recognition of our township, which to me, if we're doing something that's a newsletter for our ratepayers, for people we'd like to bring into the community, I think it should showcase our name or something, because lots of places have lakes and lots of places have woods. If you were to pick that up in a tourist booth, or if that was to be given to you, you would have no idea what it's in relation to. I think we need to find something that connects it directly to Algona Wilberforce Township.
So you didn't like the not news?
The not news, no. NAWT news. And I know naming these things is hard. I'm not diminishing any of the work that went into this or trying to pick anything. Because for anybody that made suggestions, it just doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't identifies.
Councilor Reggie Song.
Just a couple of things. So if I was going with the Lake and Woods magazine or the Lake and Woods Quarterly, I'd like to go with Lakes and Woods because we have more water and woods or something, because we have so many water, like rivers and streams and anyway. And then when I look at the loon, I'm just afraid people to call us loony toony. The not news, I can see that would be not news. A long time ago, we were talking about rebranding and all that stuff we did when we were doing our strategic planning. Remember, we were talking at one point in time about like a mascot or something like that? Like it gets it back to like, if we did have a mascot or something that represented us, and I do agree, because if you picked any of this up, it would be difficult to say it's North Algona Wilberforce. However, and maybe I should start out with the positive first. I do like the idea of the fact of having something that we do publish quarterly about what we're doing. So, I mean, the idea is great, and a name is so very, very, very important, right? Because you got to watch that it's not something people are going to like pick on or make fun of, you know. And so my big thing with the lake was I would rather have water and woods or something like that. But anyway, and like maybe we have to go back to thinking like, what is our mascot? Do we have a mascot? Do we have some kind of logo? And that being said, you know what, like for a long time, Catch a Steer Daycare never really had a name, right? It was just the logo up front, and there was a number of reasons why. Prince wasn't called Prince, he was gone by a symbol. Just saying.
Councilor Robinson.
I agree that all the names really does not identify us, and I'm thinking that we need something very simple as opposed to catchy. Because especially after some of the comments in the past, balloon, while I know what it is, begs, you know, schoolyard jokes. So I really would like to think that we take it back to the table.
I guess my question is, did any suggestions, was there a suggestion box, or did staff just come up with some names, or?
The report was prepared by staff, so.
So I'm really not picking on you guys, just,
No,
just saying,
it's,
it's very difficult.
it is not an easy thing to do.
I even like, you know, like I really even like the name of the, you know, the new logo that somebody prepared, like something like that could just be on 3/4 of a page or surrounding stuff, and then people pick it up, and as they go, they start realizing it's about North Algona and all the stuff we have to do. A name is really important, or is it important? Are these really?
What about the logo with, again, North Algona top, Wilberforce on the bottom? News, neighborhood news, something like that, but something that identifies.
Yeah,
Like our logo's been around in different formations, like I look at that one, that was kind of interesting. But I mean, like something like that, and to me, that's what our brand is. If you see it, it's like, if you see, let's say, Toronto Blue Jays, well, you can just see that blue jay with the maple leaf behind, you know, that's the Toronto Blue Jays. Molson Canadian, when they just had Canadian in the block letters, you knew that was the beer. And so, I mean,
I'm saying, what we're saying is just like community news or something. I think it's simple.
and you know what, outline, if you could even watermark the outline of North Algona that we've seen before. Like, do you know what I mean? Like what we're doing around the township looks.
I like the visual. And it does have the North Algona.
Yeah, because this is prominent,
Yeah,
and this takes away from this.
Yeah, because that logo, that's the new one, or is that the old?
That's the new one.
Okay, it's kind of hard to tell from here.
Yeah.
But that has the North Algona Wilberforce on it.
Yes.
So even something as simple as, you know, what's one of the things we got in here, we're neighborhood, so neighborhood news,
That would be, I like that.
word of mouth. Right, these are all things that we have right on our little sheet here.
Yeah.
What speaks for what we're hoping to do more than these?
I like neighborhood,
no, I agree.
Neighborhood news, neighborhood notes.
yeah,
Something like that.
and then that's all it is, because when you look at that, you look at this, you know exactly where it is.
Neighborhood pride.
Okay, I'm gonna, and I'm not, I hope I don't get into trouble with this. But I mean, neighborhood pride, sometimes that word pride invokes different meanings to different people. I know at Opeongo, when we were talking about Opeongo pride, and like, it was the kids that actually brought it up to me, and I never thought about that, right? So, you know, I'm not trying to get in, we celebrate everybody and we're inclusive to everybody, but, I mean, I do like the idea of the big logo being prominent and, you know, and people pick it up, like, I mean, it could be something about Rankin, it could be something about fire department, it could be something about Gold Lake, it could be like classifieds, it could be, there's a number of things we could do with that. And like when it's on flashy colored paper, or flashy, you know what I mean, I know it's more, it costs more money to produce, but it is definitely eye-catching.
Actually, you'd be surprised, it's not all that expensive to do, like if it's a one-page trifold, it's not that expensive. For the value that you could potentially get out of it.
It does say any page newsletter, but I mean, it doesn't mean that it's all right. I mean, the whole thing is about communicating to our visitors and stuff like that. I love the idea when they talk about storytelling. Some people love reading about historical things that have happened, like, you know, like Golden Lake got its name, or the biggest fish, or, you know, like the lodges. I mean, there could be so many things like that.
I just like the idea of use that.
Yeah.
We need to have something out there on a regular basis that people can become used to expecting. And so that A, we can let them know what's happening in the community, and we can let them know what we're doing.
And a suggestion for the newsletter would be around centering around different times, like I'm thinking like Christmas or something like that, right? Where if there's different Christmas craft sales going on, or something's going on about lighting a Christmas tree or something like that, right? Different key times throughout, or like a summer one, which basically talks about where you can go and what you can do, like key times.
Because I just want to bring council back to the fact that we're looking for a name.
Mhm. Okay.
And the newsletter is being published for this month.
I was just gonna say,
So-
so the first quarterly edition will be the summer one. And so then after that it will be quarterly, so, so yes,
We need the name at this meeting.
we do hope to publish it within the next 2 weeks, so, yes.
Yes, Laura.
Just something Michelle said was being published quarterly, and I've noticed that part of the 4 suggestions, 2 of them mention quarterly. What if you had the logo and put quarterly news? Or quarterly, so they know
It's
that
quarterly.
it's quarterly.
Makes sense to me.
Works for me.
Works for me.
So can we just stroke that out with a friendly amendment and call it quarterly news?
No, because we're saying we accept the report as presented.
Yeah, we're approving a different name. We can still accept the report, but make a different decision.
Is that okay?
Uh,
To make a friendly amendment?
I would say yes, that's something.
So it's quarterly news.
Whatever you. But you want the logo in
Yes. Yeah, just
So
okay.
logo,
Basically,
logo quarterly news, or
just quarterly news,
So make the logo look bigger.
and then, yeah.
you know, basically if it takes up the header space on that one,
Mhm.
right? Either again, we might work off whichever one it is, or put it right in the middle, put quarterly on one side and news on the other.
Hey. It's working for this.
Okay, so. How about Council Barco?
Yes.
Council Robinson?
Yeah.
Council Reddy Thompson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Item 7.5 is the RFP for landscaping and outdoor carpentry. I have a motion that after evaluation, staff recommends council accepts the RFQ landscaping and outdoor current report is presented and accepts the quotation from Williams Sons for $89,679.63, including HST. Andrew.
So through the mayor, staff would withdraw this report and, or council to defer it so that we can bring back further information to allow council to make an educated decision.
And that would mean more detailed breakdown. of
Correct.
The costs.
So it'll be a motion to defer.
So council, moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Robinson. That this resolution be deferred. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes,
Item 7.6 is the Canada Day pancake breakfast. So I have a motion that council approves a donation of $850 to the Lake Erie Property Owners Association to purchase breakfast supplies for the joint Canada Day and pancake breakfast event on July 1st, 2022 at the Police Bishop Park. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Comments or questions? Councilor Buckwell?
Just because this is a donation, have they gone through the application process? Just so that we're treating everybody equally.
They have not. So in the past, in 2019, the municipality partnered with the Lake Erie Property Owners Association to organize the breakfast for the Canada Day. But no, they haven't gone through the process.
Councilor Buckwell?
So my next question would be, so are we looking at doing that partnership again?
Yes.
So if we're partnering again and it becomes a township event, I don't have to see a problem with that. I just want to make sure that we're not. Yeah, maybe some people go through groups and not others.
And one of my questions was it in our 2022 budget? Staff informed me that yes, we had put 5,000 in for Canada Day celebrations, so this becomes part of that cost. So, and it was the same amount that we budgeted the last time we had it. Any other comments? Seeing none, Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Recchi,
yeah,
yes, carried, thank you. So item 9.1 is non-action, and I have a motion that council accepts correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.2 as information. And it is seconded, moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Reggie Dunkel. Comments or questions? I don't know. Does anybody have another pen? I just ran out of ink. Thank you. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Dunkel.
yes,
Yes, carried, thank you. So that brings us to item number 10, which is bylaws. And I have a motion now therefore that Council of North Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaw. 2022-32 being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required for municipal purposes during the year set with 2022 tax rates. And 2022-33 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 04-97. And I'm going to move in a second, moved by Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Comments, questions? Seeing none, Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ray Santos,
Yes,
and a yes. Right, thank you. So are there any matters of urgency? Any notice of motions? Upcoming meetings and unfinished business. So our next regular council meeting will be June 21st, 2022 at 7 p.m. And I would imagine the location will be determined. So that brings us to item 15. I have a motion that council go into closed session pursuant to section 2392A and section 2392B of the Municipal Act regarding two personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and one security of the property of the municipality or local boards. And I'm going to move in the seconder, moved by Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Buckland. Council is going into closed at 7:46.
like 7:47.
7:47. Yeah. Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld.
Yes.
Yes. Very, thank you. We are going forward. This is our confirmatory bylaws. A motion that bylaw 2022-34 being a bylaw to confirm the proceeding of council.
Can I, for just two resolutions?
Did I?
16,
I don't have a resolution. Item 61, communications committee. Okay. So the motion that staff take action as directed by council in regard to the recommendation of the communications committee. And I can move in a second, moved by Councilor Buckland, seconded by Councilor Schoenfeld. Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Schoenfeld,
Yes,
and a yes, that's carried. And then item 16.2 is property acquisition. And staff take action as directed by council during closed session. So we're going to move in a second, moved by Councilor Buckland, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Schoenfeld,
yes.
and a yes, that's carried. Item 17, that is our confirmatory bylaw. A resolution that bylaw 2022-34 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for June 7th, 2022 is read. First and second time the 7th day of June, 2022. Again, mover and seconder, moved by Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Buckland. Read a third time and finally passed the 7th day of June, 2022. Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld,
Yes.
and a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 18 is adjournment. I have a resolution that this regular meeting of council adjourns at
8:01.
8:01 p.m. And it is seconded by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Schoenfeld. Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld,
Yes.
and a yes. Carried. Thank you. Adjourned.